Hey guys, Dan here from Too Many Twenties, filming from inside the safety of my quarantine cupboard. What's that? Apparently we're supposed to be going back to work now, so guess I'm heading outside. So the lighting's not great, and then I stand up and the background glows, and then as soon as I sit down again, all the light disappears. Just quickly, I want to address a change you may have noticed. I do have a bit of a beard coming on. It's not mine. It's actually on loan to me from the town master of Phandalin, so as soon as this whole lockdown is over, I can send it back and we'll all be back to normal. Okay. Let's talk a bit about Kiboin, because I'm the only one here and you can't stop me. Turns out D&D is not an essential job. So I'm back here in my home. Yeah, we're still here. Been about 7 weeks now, 7 weeks, something like that. Anyway, we're still here, still going strong. So what I thought I'd do, as it's just me, is tell you a little bit about Kiboin, give you a little bit of his backstory, and then what I've also got, and don't tell Aaron, are some notes here that you may have seen us passing around within the sessions. Now, some of these are dialogue that happened in other languages, and others of them are notes that Aaron has passed to us because they're things our characters have noticed, the rest of the party haven't. So let's get into it. The things I do for D&D. Is this enough? You happy now? Officially taken over every aspect of my waking and sleeping life. Is that enough for you? Can I go now? Let's start with the voice. Why does Kiboin's voice sound like it's fluctuating between two accents all the time? That would be because it is. It is doing that. I went with the traditional Dwarven accent, which is that sort of Scottish sounding mix. And then because he's a dwarf who grew up in a predominantly halfling village, there's a slight Irish kick, just that slightly higher pitch that just sits over the top. And the result is incredibly awkward to maintain and incredibly frustrating to keep up for long periods of dialogue. So yeah, that's why he sounds like that. It wasn't a good idea on my part, but I'm sticking with it. Let's talk about this old thing. Kiboin's coin has become a lot more important in recent episodes. It's something that started just as a sort of thematic thing, a way for me to get into the character's mindset a bit more. Kiboin is predominantly lawful, he is lawful good, he is a dwarf, he has his rules, he protects life at all costs, that's what he does. But Tamora is chaotic, and circumstances, as you've probably seen, are not very structured at the moment. So Kiboin's faith is a little bit less secure, and that leads him to swing towards some more chaotic tendencies, and that is where this comes in. There's no role for alignment, so I've implemented a coin toss. Heads, like Tamora, he is chaotic. He acts more on a whim, less calculated. Tails, he acts more lawfully, a bit more carefully, a bit more consideration for the party and those around him. As Grenwell has found out on several occasions, this can be quite important to how Kiboin plays out. All the notes! That didn't really work, did it? We'll edit this bit out. Now, as I said at the beginning, some of these notes are dialogue, and some of them are more observations, and maybe facts that the characters would know that we wouldn't have said out loud. I'm going to go through a few of them now, give you an idea of what's been going on, and hopefully you'll be able to work out from the content of them where in each episode they were used. Some of them are more simple. Something like this one that simply says, "You hear the footfall of red brands." I think it's probably fairly obvious where that could have been passed around. And that's something where one of our characters is in a situation to hear something the rest of the party isn't. So to make sure that only the character who hears it is able to react to it, Aaron passes notes like these. Now, others are a little bit more informational. I've got some here that are on the history of various hammers and things that Kiboin has found. If you want to read those, you can pause the video and have a look. If you want to keep that a bit more mysterious later on, don't read them yet. It's not going to make a massive difference. It's just some people don't like to know, some people do. It's up to you. And then others are a little bit more concerning. So you may remember that Shula had a certain dagger that Kiboin didn't take too fondly to, and I'll read you through why. So he did a lot of magical observation of this knife, and no one else could see what he was seeing. The first thing he saw was a necrotic essence flowing from the blade. That's a bad sign. The next thing he saw were a series of tendrils dragging the blade across the floor towards, I would call, a large pile of bodies. Equally not great. And the third thing that happened, which I'm sure you haven't forgotten, that the blade is eating souls. So yeah, hopefully you can see why Kiboin was very wary of that blade and why he tried very hard to keep it away from everything. And some of the others, I've got here a dialogue. These ones here are from our old friend Madame Thornton. We've got mostly taunts, recognising necrotic energies radiating off her. That's why Kiboin never really spoke to her much. He didn't trust her. He didn't want to engage with dark energies. And this one that's really stuck in his head, something that she planted in his mind a long time ago, that's led in part to his chaotic tendencies, which is the phrase, "We decide who are gods." That did not go down well. Oh, I'm still recording. You weren't meant to see that. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully it's given a little bit of insight into the character and a little bit more information about what goes on when we're on set, how we communicate with each other in ways that keep the character's immersion for us and keep some of the mystery for you. As always, we very much appreciate your viewership here. It means an awful lot to us to know that you're following what we do. If you have any further questions for me, or indeed anybody else, the comments are all yours. Go ahead. And I hope you're all staying safe during this very difficult time, and I look forward to being able to get back into production soon. Take care. Bye. Let's talk D&D. And yes, my bed is covered in dice and it is incredibly painful to lie down on.